Well, before we do our first grand finale, we're going to play two Low East Side hits. Great friend of mine, Floyd Red Crow Westerman. Some of you may remember him from the film Dances with Wolves, but way back in the 1960s, Floyd was in New York and taught me this beautiful song, which I used in a melody that I wrote for the Philadelphia Orchestra, based on the poetry of Native American people, which Vine Deloria Jr., Floyd's childhood friend, helped me to find texts for. And we did it with the Philadelphia Orchestra, which was a big thrill. And their conductor, as you know, was Eugene Ormandy, who was from Hungary. And I had written a piece for the Philadelphia Orchestra back in, it was done in 1971, a horn concerto, which had jazz in it, which is not surprising since I was born and lived in this country a good part of my life. And he was afraid that if the piece I was commissioned by the Philadelphia Orchestra had any jazz in it, the board of directors of 1977 might be offended, and he would have to go back to the Capitol Theater, where he played in the second violin section when he first came here, to go on a concert tour, and the concert promoter tanked out, and he didn't speak English and was struggling as a refugee with his violin and no gig, and had to sit in that torturous situation. So there was that kind of a phobia of having to go back to that. So he associated jazz with that only because he wasn't blessed to realize that the same gorgeous Hungarian music that inspired Bartók and Kodály and Brahms was also similar to the gift of Native American music and jazz and blues and all the great folk, sincere folk musics of the world that have stood the test of time. So all that being said, I finally met with him after he found out that the orchestra had commissioned me, and he said, "Amram, not jazz! No jazz!" I said, "Well, Maestro, this piece is called Trail of Beauty, and is the poetry of Native American people." He said, "What?" And I said, "Native American." "What? Native what?" And I said, "American Indian." He said, "Oh my God, that's worse than jazz." I said, "What do you mean, Maestro?" He said, "It's all monotonous. It all sounds the same. It's so simple. It all sounds the same. Hiya dada, hiya dada, hiya, hiya, hiya dada." And I said, "Well, Maestro, actually, that's only done in the beer commercial. No Native people ever do that. That's just what we're told is supposed to be it. But like so many things, it is something, but has nothing to do with the people it's supposed to be about." He said, "I don't care. It's all monotonous." And I said, "Well, Maestro, here's a Cheyenne war dance, and it has an A-B-B form, and it uses quarter tones, it has rhythmic changes. It's so sophisticated, it takes all of us years and years just to learn it." He said, "Ah, they hear it, that's all too simple." So I sang him this wonderful melody. And he said, "It's too complicated." So that's what they call adjusting to the peer culture. I think that's how you describe it. So I was able to write the piece, and I used that in another piece. And this is the melody that I used that Floyd Westerman taught to me. It's a ladies' choice round dance called Mastinchilawachipe Oluwan. And Jack Kerouac was always interested in what he felt was his Native American or Native Canadian background. And Dodie Muller, the great painter, who's now finally being acknowledged, who Jack was going to marry, who taught Jack painting in 1960, was Native American descent herself. And she said, "Well, Jack will have to find that out for himself." But this is one of those beautiful, beautiful old melodies. And we'd just like to play it now, remembering Floyd Westerman and celebrating all of you being here in the year 2011 at the beautiful Bowery Poetry Club that celebrates the Bowery, the Lower East Side, New York City, poetry, and young artists getting a chance to do what they love to do while they're still with us.